Jerry the King Lawler, Memphis wrestling legend, winner of countless titles, legions of fans, and member of the WWE Hall of Fame. This is Jerry Lawler's Classic Memphis Wrestling, brought to you by King Jerry Lawler's Hall of Fame Bar and Grill, 745 Cash, and King Jerry Lawler's Memphis Barbecue Company.
And here we are with another edition of King Jerry Lawler's Classic Memphis Wrestling. So far, I mean, we have had so much fun doing these shows, and we've had such great response, and we appreciate if you like the show, please tell your friends about it, and because we need everybody that used to watch Classic Memphis Wrestling back in the day to come and join us and watch it again here as we relive some of those great moments from the past. And today we got a very special show and a very special guest. One of my not only a co-worker for all these years, but one of my best friends, and we actually used to be related by marriage at one time, and that's we'll get around to that story in a second. But our special guest today is a guy that's been involved in almost every big match that ever happened in Memphis wrestling, and it's none other than Jerry Calhoun. Jerry, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate it.
Jerry, in case you hear some strange sounds every now and then, we're always joined every week by Tom Nunnery over there. Tom,
he's the world's greatest wrestler. He's the best you've ever seen.
There you go. Okay, Tom. And of course, we want to say that, you know, I can't remember. Well, I can't remember one big match that you weren't involved with in my career, but man, so many big matches. I mean, first let's get started with, what year did you start doing the referee?
I started in 1976, and I have that to thank for you to give me it. I don't know if you remember how I got in.
No, I don't remember.
You don't
exactly.
remember?
No.
I mean, when you come into town on Friday and Saturday night, you know, the Friday night go to Tupelo, Saturday night go to Jonesboro. And then I'd always ride with you. Right. And then one night, you come and pick me up on Friday night and said, hey, you want to referee? I said, referee what? I thought maybe softball, basketball. I said, no, wrestling. I said, I've never done that in my life.
Right.
So I went to Tupelo with you. So I thought I'd be opening up and refereeing the first match. No, I was refereeing the main event. It was you, Jim White, Sam Bass against Tojo Yamamoto and Jerry Jarrett. I said, oh my gosh, I went from nothing to the main event. How did this happen? You know?
Well, and let's go back with a little bit of history. Like I said, we were related at one time. Yeah. I married a girl named Kay, and when we got married, you were already married to Kay's sister, Paula, right? So we became brother-in-laws by marriage, and so then at that time I had moved, because I was just getting started in the wrestling business. I had moved up to Hendersonville, Tennessee, right outside of Nashville, because that was like the headquarters and where all the wrestlers kind of worked out of. And so when we came back to Memphis and stayed, we would come and stay at your house on the weekends.
That's right.
That's how you and I started traveling together, and that's how I've shoved you into the wrestling business, right?
I thank you from the bottom of my heart. How much
my gosh.
You know, you got so many people in the business, and me just being fortunate to be one of them. But I mean, all the people you got in the business, plus the names you gave them, you know, Rock and Roll Express, and go on and on. I mean, you'd be like Jimmy Stewart in It's a Wonderful Life. If anything happened to you, I mean, there would be no king or anybody.
No, please.
Oh, no, that's true.
Well, you know what? I did get you involved in the wrestling, and you were great at refereeing and everything. But then there was a time, and you know, for this show featuring you as our guest, I went back and found some clips of times that didn't always work out so well. Do you remember Exotic Adrian Street?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And his valet, Miss Linda. For everybody that doesn't remember, I want to show Jim Cornette and Exotic Adrian Street and his valet, Miss Linda, and then we'll come back and show you what happened to Calhoun and them together.
The manager, Jim Cornette, glad to meet you. Do the people know what kind of match that we're involved in? Do the people understand a Southern Tag Team Championship match with the Fabulous Ones, Stan Lane and Steve Kern, is that right? Well, let me tell you something. I spent a lot of extra time, and my mother spent a lot of extra money to get this match, the first Tag Team Championship that the Dynasty has gone after, and I want it for personal reasons as well as professional ones, because when Stan Lane and Steve Kern come to the ring, and all those girls line up to see them, the smell of cheap perfume makes me sick to my stomach. Now, I've got these men pumped up psychologically and physically. They're ready. Jesse Barr, they say he's sadistic. Jesse, that may just be right.
You know, I've been a champion
and of course,
since
that's
I was
Jesse
5
Barber.
years
You
old.
see on the
We're gonna
right-hand
take
side
those
of the
belts
screen
from
is
the
Exotic
fabulous ones,
Adrian
and then we're gonna
Street.
take them and twist their arms around and just give them a little bit of punishment just for.
And I know for sure, for one thing, that Adrian Street is looking forward to this match as well. Is that right, Adrian?
This is the one I've been looking forward to. I really want to get my hands on these guys. I mean,
I bet he did.
even before I came to this place, they've been imitating me. They've been, their hair.
Steve Kern and Stan Lane have been trying to imitate you.
They've been imitating me. They've grown their hair and they've blonded their hair to try to look like me and to try to act like me. I've got my own music, the music I sing to myself. They brought us out of silly music. They're not even performing on it. As far as I'm concerned, imitation is supposed to be the best form of flattery. They look like two little ducks trying to imitate a swan. They may be pretty, but I am beautiful. I mean beautiful. I mean,
Jimmy Cornette, this is a...
Now, that was Exotic Adrian Street and his valet, Miss Linda. And they were about to get ready to go into a tag team match against the fabulous ones, Steve Kern and Stan Lane. And apparently, at the end of that match, you disqualified Jim Cornette and Adrian Street, and they got upset.
Right.
And it led to a match. A match where you had to get in the ring, and you got Bill Dundee as your partner, and you were going in. It was a handicap match against Jim Cornette and Miss Linda and Adrian Street, right?
Exactly.
Where'd you get tights to wear in the match?
Oh, man, this must have been one of your first tights you ever bought. I mean, if you look at some old footage of you, it'd be the white tights and, you know,
right. So
stars on it.
I loaned you the tights.
You
but
did.
Let's take a look at this match. I guess along with loaning you the tights, I should have loaned you some wrestling moves or something. Let's go back and take a look at Jerry Calhoun, Bill Dundee against Adrian Street, Miss Linda, and there Jim Cornette dropping a knee on you, or elbow. Look at this. Now, he didn't know anything about wrestling either.
No. I tell you what, you take Jimmy Cornette and Jimmy Hart, they were a thorn in my side. I mean, just like any other referee. I mean, they were
always giving
constantly
everybody
interfering.
But look at Cornette. How did you let Jim Cornette get you down?
Well, he got the best of me.
I see that.
Well, he caught me off guard. Well, I wasn't expecting him to hit me. Next thing you know, I felt like I'm almost out.
The first time I saw this match, I said, man, Calhoun's got a drug problem. He's getting drugged from one end of the ring to the other. Now, look, that's Miss Linda.
Well,
that's a woman.
Back then, well, right now, you're not supposed to hit a woman. So I said, well, I don't know if I can hit her.
Oh, my gosh, look, she's body slamming you.
I think back then, I weighed more then than I do now. I might have weighed about 160 back then.
Look, you moved out of the way.
And I didn't do anything.
Right, come on.
I was trying to get back to my senses, reality.
Did you realize
that was.
Did you remember you had a partner, Bill Dundee, over there? Bill is trying to come to your rescue now, but...
Well, I'm fine. Did I not tag him?
No, not yet.
Oh, well. Well, I'm glad he come in where I can catch my breath.
And look, remember the other referee back in the day?
Paul Morton.
Yeah,
Paul Morton. Very much so.
He was like a mentor. Paul helped you a lot, you know, early on in your career.
When I first started refereeing, it's like, how I learned how to referee was in the matches, and that's something.
You talk about somebody being a thorn inside. There is a typical Jimmy Cornette move. He is actually tying Bill Dundee's boot to the ring rope where he can't help you.
Exactly.
And Adrian Street and Miss Linda are working you over now.
Now,
all three of them.
Well, it took all three of them to do it.
Oh, I see. Oh!
You know what? I tell you, I don't know how y'all take that. During the match, he'd also give me like a forearm. I said, I felt like that forearm was going right through my chest. I said, how do y'all take that?
Yeah, that was one of Exotic Adrian Street's big moves.
Oh, my
those
goodness.
big.
I was saying, please, somebody help me. I said, Paul, drag me out.
Well, we always like to make our guests feel at ease here, so I find the most complimentary matches. Oh, look at that, another shot. They were brutal on you.
All I gotta say is I'm glad I refereed back then. Oh my gosh, I'm expecting to the utmost of every wrestler.
Oh, look, Dundee's gotten untied. Thank goodness.
Well, you think I could have gone over there and tried to untie him if I could?
No, there was all three of them on you. And now still, Miss Linda won't let you go.
I guess I should have hit her.
Yeah, you should. Oh, I think Dundee's going to.
Dundee's going to do it for me.
No, wait, a body slam.
Maybe I should have dropped the elbow on her.
Look, you're just still over there, half conscious, barely conscious now. Get up, Calhoun, get up.
I don't think you can call me wrestling in this match, do
you? Well, maybe not. Wait, are you? No, still no offense.
Taking a no-do.
Oh, remember this guy that just came in? What would they call him? The Apocalypse.
Oh, yeah.
He was a weird individual. Cornette had this crew of misfits that he managed back in the day, always, and then somehow they always got a foul of you.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Oh.
Just like him and Jimmy Hart, they would have their crew.
Calhoun, this is sad. You have not.
I have not thrown a punch.
Not thrown one punch.
I don't even know where I am.
You were at the look at this crowd at the Mid-South Coliseum.
I should have rolled out of that ring and ran to the back like my pants are on fire.
Well, here you go. Look, once again the cavalry arrives. There's Terry Taylor coming in to help out.
Well, that guy said, "What took y'all so long?"
Wait. I think you're gonna get your hand raised here in a minute. Oh. Yes, look at this. You're the winner.
Hey, I won a match and I didn't do a daggum thing.
Awesome.
Wow. You remember those tights?
I do remember those tights.
I still have them.
Do you really?
I do.
Man, put those things
Not
on
that
eBay.
I want to wear
Put those things on eBay. They might be worth. They might be probably worth more than they were then. Well, that was great, man. Listen, we're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna come back, and that's not the worst you fared. I mean, we got some footage of guys like, oh my gosh, I think Joe LeDuc getting a hold of you, and Randy Savage getting a hold of you, and things like that. We're gonna take a break, Jerry. We're gonna come back with more of this classic Memphis wrestling. Stay with us.
Now, back to Jerry Lawler's classic Memphis wrestling.
All right, we are back on the show, and I know you've always been a big fan of Tom Nunnery. Tom's been around.
My main artist.
He's the best you've ever seen.
All right, Tom. Yeah. Tom gets a lot of fan mail.
Oh, does he?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, how much?
Well, he got 2 letters last week, but that's good. That's really good. Yeah, thank you very much. Hey, listen, we're going to go back, like I said, and show now a little run-in at the end of it. Things always bad to happen to you at the end of our matches.
Isn't that funny? I don't know how that happened.
I don't either. But anyway, this was a match in which I was wrestling against Austin Idol. Let's roll the clip, and then somehow Austin Idol gets mad at you about, I don't know if I won the match or whatever, but here he goes. Look at Austin Idol grabbing you here.
Significance is that Idol could not get a 3 count. It's going to be a pile.
I don't know why sometimes they take out the frustration.
Look. Here's where Was that the first time you ever got pile driven?
No, I don't remember, but there's one. I remember it hurt. I don't remember why he did it either.
No, he was upset. I think maybe you had disqualified him in that match. But then, listen, I found a clip of you and Jimmy Hart, and you got to watch early in the clip because I think you punched Jimmy Hart, but then it goes south from there. Take a look at this.
I remember this one.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That must have been back in the early 80s.
Yeah, that was when we just moved, I think, to Channel 5 there.
Yeah.
And now look at this.
The Nightmare.
Oh!
That hurt. I don't know how some I guess you guys are big enough to take those, get up eventually.
And look at Jimmy Hart. This is probably one of the reasons you had a long-running feud with Jimmy Hart. And then he wondered why in matches you didn't, you didn't see things his way. Look at this.
Yeah. He just always interferes, seems like. He's always, if you think you have the match under control, then he's going to jump in and mess it up.
Yeah, and look, Eddie Marlin comes out trying to save the day.
Oh, man, Eddie Marlin.
And Jimmy Hart just wouldn't listen to authority. No respect for authority whatsoever.
Then again, it took everybody a long time to come save me here,
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
I don't know who these guys are. Roy Rogers comes and saves
that time again.
All right, now let's go back real quick and visit a match. You know what? I'm supposed to have some notes here about exactly when this was. I think it may come up on the screen, but Randy Savage. You remember Randy Savage?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Macho Man went on to WWE from Memphis Wrestling and was one of the biggest stars ever in the history of WWE. But anyway, Randy Savage started, of course, here in Memphis, and it boiled down to a match between Randy and I inside a cage because it seemed like every time we had wrestled, somebody had got involved and a lot of outside interference. So let's go back and take a look at this match. Cage match between Randy Savage and I, and once again, Calhoun, at the end of this match, I don't think you're going to like the outcome.
I think I made somebody mad again. You know, they don't
so
like
too.
you know, my calls evidently at the end of the matches. Matter of fact, you was in a lot of cage matches. You know that,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
And the bad thing about it is it's hard to get in to save somebody, you know, like if we're getting hurt, especially like me.
Well, the Macho Man, I mean, you know, he was a very special guy. He and his brother Lanny Poffo and his father Angelo Poffo, they started their own wrestling company up in Lexington, Kentucky.
I remember that.
And they kind of infringed on what we considered our territory at the time, and so that it made not only a personal
almost,
feud,
yeah,
there
exactly.
was a family feud between these guys.
I say this, y'all could wrestle. I mean, Randy, he loved jumping off that top rope.
Yeah.
I mean, he loved that.
And landing on you with that big elbow.
Yeah, well, me and everybody else.
The King and Macho Man, Randy Savage, inside the cage, and they're tying it up.
Think about it on cage matches, of course. Anything goes, you know, so you just take out or bring in the ring anything you can, just beat the heck out of your partner.
Taking some shots from Lawler.
Yeah, look at you there. First time I took, look, we're inside a steel cage and you don't even want me. You get mad at me for throwing a fist.
No, well, I'm trying to keep a little
order.
Yeah, order, and keep y'all under control. But sometimes, you know, like, well, I guess most of the times I'll lose it.
Randy Savage in a position it looked like he was all
good crowd too.
Oh, always.
Oh
There
my
was a
gosh,
sellout there.
probably another sellout.
jumped in the ring.
Oh, look. Randy trying to get out of the cage. Now our
If
cage,
not, he's going to jump off the top.
oh yeah, that's probably what he was thinking about doing. Our cage matches were always a little different. We didn't, you know, the WWE cage matches, you win the match by escaping from the cage. But we, you know, we always, you had to win inside the cage, and the cage was up there to be able to keep the participants from getting out.
Yeah, but like I said earlier, the rough part about it at the end, you're trying to come in and help somebody, then you know, take them forever to get into the ring.
Yeah.
Especially somebody's.
Most of these, like I remember this cage, it had a padlock on it, and I think somebody would lock it and give you the key.
Yeah.
Jerry lost his cool, and as he got
Good thing I didn't lose it.
Macho Man wrapped him up, nailed him hard, side headlocked him, and now reverse face lock on him.
I'm asking you, you want to give up? You want to give up? Or, you never give up.
No, I try not to.
But, you know, I'm going to ask it.
Jerry Calhoun checking in there. Certainly, he would see it if it were an
Yeah, you know, it used to be said like you knew when the referee was doing a good job was when you didn't even realize he was in the ring. I mean, because you know that was the thing. The action was supposed to be centered around the wrestlers and everything, but the referee was certainly a necessity. But then you were always great at not trying to, you know, take attention away from what was going on in the match.
Well, I try to stay out of the way as much as possible, but you know, that didn't materialize most of the time because I'd always get knocked down. As like Jack Eaton would say sometimes, you get knocked down by a phone call.
The great Lance Russell on the call on this match. He was so awesome.
He was. Him and Dave Brown, awesome.
And if my memory serves me correctly, I think during this is about the same time when I was having this feud with Randy Savage. He was getting ready to go to the WWE, and Joe LeDuc. I also was in the big feud with Joe LeDuc, and Joe and I had some fierce battles, and you know we never were on the same page. And I think that that cage was mainly there to keep. I think Joe LeDuc had interfered some of our earlier matches. That cage there that night was to keep Joe LeDuc specifically out of the ring. Yeah.
Think that happened?
We'll see.
I tell you what, you're talking about one of the strongest men to come through this territory, Joe LeDuc. And that's, I remember that's one of the ones that he injured you on when he threw you over the top rope and you landed on the table.
Absolutely.
Hurt your leg at that time.
Yeah, he did.
Fires Savage in to the two main side supports on this side. Savage hit those 2x4s.
That was a homemade steel cage. You know, this is that was sort of like a makeshift homemade steel cage. It looks more like chicken wire up there instead of a steel cage. wooden frames and chicken wire around there. But it served its purpose.
Well, I tell you what, it kept one of them from getting out that wanted to get out. Or both of them.
And if we ever got out on the floor, I always looked at as you can see those big wooden posts and all that. I always kind of looked at that as a extra partner. I would, if I could ever get my opponent out there, I would try to use the cage as my partner.
You would take advantage of those as much as you can. You get your opponent and try to just,
run their head right into
the face just across that wire,
Yeah.
Strong arm bar from Savage. Now he grabs the hair.
How did you not see that?
Well, it's on the other side.
Well, that's another thing. Guys were masters at trying to keep you from seeing any kind of illegal tactics. They would make a living off that.
They'd get me on one side where they could do something where I couldn't see it. I tell you what, y'all had some great matches in Savage. Of course, this is not the first one you had. You had them throughout the territory.
One of the great, I swear, it seems like I can hear her voice. If you remember, one of our great fans,
I know
you may get a shot of her here.
Miss Lily?
Miss Lily. Oh my gosh. She was always right on that corner ringside seat every Monday night at the Coliseum. She didn't miss a match for years.
Oh my goodness, she would give me a hard time every time I go in the ring. I mean, it would not hesitate. Yeah. I mean, she would give me an earful.
She loved me, though.
I thought the world of her. She was really so nice. Other than jumping on me, but I still thought the world of it.
Son of a gun, you might expect something like that out of.
Surprised in watching this match that we haven't tried to use that cage more. I guess the whole deal was in this particular feud here. It was strictly there that night to keep Joe LeDuc out. It wasn't really about Savage and I. Watch some of these matches and I
find out what happened on that, don't we?
Yeah, I watch some of these matches and I see these outfits I'm wearing and I'm thinking, whatever happened to those boots? I think those boots that I'm wearing right there are on the display case down at Hall of Fame Bar and Grill right now down on Beale Street.
Well, I tell you what, I'm not wearing that outfit, that may not be wrestling.
Is that the shirt that we have of yours down at the Bar and Grill?
No, it's one later, a black shirt. You have displayed, and I thank you very much.
All right. I think Savage may have just used a foreign object that once again you didn't see. Remember that?
Believe it or not, when you're in the ring, you think people think you can see everything. You can't because I'm up close with you guys,
Look,
so they're back.
He's going to his tights right there. He's raking my eyes or doing something. I don't know. I don't even know what he had either, but he's got something there. And you're right. Your view is
I'm up
obstructed.
close. I can't see everything compared to the others out in the crowd. Of course, they're going to let me know what they're doing,
right.
And then I'm going to try to find it. It seems like most of the time I'm not successful.
I do remember doing a piece of artwork. Remember when I used to do those drawings that would be in our weekly program every week?
Yeah.
I do remember doing a drawing of you with your referee shirt on, and you're sitting on a corner, and you have a guide dog there,
right.
And you're holding up a sign that says "I am blind," right?
With pencils.
Selling pencils on the corner.
Matter of fact, that's at your bar, by the way, right? With all your other wonderful drawings.
Another plug for the Bar and Grill down there, right? Whoa. Now Savage trying to get me out to the outside and use that cage.
Uh-oh. I thought the cage was going to give way there for a minute. I'm telling you, that's a guy who just loves to jump off the top rope. And at one point back there, it used to be, we had a stipulation that showed the
off the top rope was a disqualification,
yeah. You can't jump off the top rope because that's disqualification.
I think that rule changed.
Yeah, it did. But we had a time period there where that was illegal.
And if you threw someone over the top rope, that was a disqualification as well.
And also, if you had a manager that got up out of his chair,
that was supposed to be, yeah.
Well, that was supposed to be a disqualification right then.
Yeah, that went by the wayside quickly.
Oh, it did. I remember Al Green was one of the ones that, he used to wrestle here some. Remember Al Green?
Sure.
He managed some. He would get up out of that chair right and left.
Well, if I can remember when, you know, here we go with the cover.
Yep.
My first manager, Sam Bass.
Oh, yeah.
He never stayed in the chair.
No.
18 minutes, 55 seconds. And Savage, who's got to be burning up an awful lot of energy himself.
There you go.
Inside the cage.
We'll jump off that top on you again.
The cage looks a little flimsy, doesn't it?
And the referee kind of pulled him. Savage didn't get his
I guess if you started hitting you enough in the head and then running your
Look,
head
Randy,
against
Lance just gave you credit for saving. Oh, there we go, into the cage. There we go.
I think you say that. You know that's going to happen.
side of that cage.
It should have been the other way around, though. I was usually trying to run Randy's head into the cage.
Like eventually hit him in the stomach and then to grab his head and hit it into the cage.
Can you imagine what
Grief.
both of these guys will feel like tomorrow?
And not busted open yet? I appreciate the way you're really stepping in there trying to stop the action.
Trying to stay out of the way, you know.
Crowd getting behind Lawler, trying to get him.
Most of the time when I get in the way, I always get thrown out of the way.
Now, what were you saying right there at that point? Don't do that. Don't do that, Randy.
Well, I was telling Randy to get off of you and get back in the ring.
He's only hit. There we go.
So sometimes you might get out there and maybe other people in the crowd can't see you unless you're in the ring. So.
Well, the strap just came down.
There you go. Now you know. Here comes pounding on Randy.
Going after Macho Man.
Yeah, and look at you doing well. Just kind of stay out of the way right now.
Yeah, I do.
Oh. There you go.
Oh, that was
Ease him over the side.
covering. You're covering.
Oh, okay, here we go.
No, I told you.
Now look, Calhoun, you got your back turned. You don't even see this 300-pound gorilla coming into the ring. And look at this guy climbed over the cage, and now he's tight roping.
Whoa, I told him not to do it, then I disqualified him, right? So
yes, you did.
Then, like I said, when you're in a ring now, it's going to take about 30 minutes for somebody to come and help you out. It's so hard to get into the ring.
Lawler inside that cage.
This is Joe LeDuc. I mean, this guy was something else. But you did do the right thing. You disqualified him for outside interference. They're ringing the bell.
Right.
And you're just walking around. What are you doing?
Well, you know,
help me.
Yeah,
you can help me at this point.
But that's the thing that everybody would say, don't help him, go do this. You don't realize, you guys are about sometimes 2 or 3 times bigger than I am. That's hard for me to pull him off and say, do anything.
Joe LeDuc just shoved you down with one arm.
No, he had no respect for him.
Oh, watch out. Here we go. The Macho Man. Oh, look out.
Ow.
Ooh.
You know, sometimes when that happens and I land, my back will hit the ring.
The ring apron, which was, of course, the hardest part of the ring.
Yeah, the ring apron. Oh, my goodness. Talking about pain.
I hear Lance saying, let's get some. That was one of Lance Russell's most famous lines. Let's get some help out here. And you're right. You're out of the ring. You can land on your head over there.
Yeah.
And both of these monsters
are
working me over.
Beating the heck out of you.
I heard him say Eddie Marlin had the key, so he shouldn't be opening the door and please get some help. But that's.
But you know what? At times too, they would give it to like Eddie Marlin or Guy Coffey, and then I also would have the key.
Right.
So so to have 2 keys at least, somebody could open up the gate.
Well, here comes somebody.
Savage gets away.
No, that's not.
Jamison and Dutch trying to get LeDuc out.
I think Dutch Mantell and
The referee, Jerry Calhoun,
Jim Jamison.
injured.
Not a lot of help. Well, Dutch would be.
Winner in 2050.
But anyway, there you go. There we have it. This was not a great match for either one of us, actually.
No, I don't think so.
Hopefully, I'm going to find some.
For me, more painful for you.
Hopefully, we'll find some better footage. What would you say is the most famous or the biggest match you ever refereed in Memphis?
You know what? A lot of people have asked me that, and it just right there, and I can tell you right off.
What's that?
You and Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman.
I mean, that seemed like that put y'all on the Memphis wrestling country worldwide.
Worldwide, you're right. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to let Tom play us out to a break, and we're going to come back and revisit Andy Kaufman with you refereeing. Tom?
Let me tell you something, better get it straight. He is a man that the bad guys love to hate. He's a rocker and a roller, fighter and a lover and a king.
Now, back to Jerry Lawler's classic Memphis Wrestling.
Well, we are back on the show, and our special guest this week is none other than the probably the longest-running referee in Memphis wrestling history, Jerry Calhoun. And we've gone back and taken a look at some of the past matches, and you yourself said that probably the most famous match that you ever refereed in Memphis was
Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman. Andy Kaufman, of course, helped put Memphis wrestling on the map, as you said, worldwide. And the greatest thing that ever happened to my career was Andy Kaufman coming here and getting involved with our Memphis wrestling back in, 82, 83, something like that. So it boiled down to, if you remember, did you referee any of the matches when Andy first came here? He wrestled women out of the audience.
Yes,
did you referee some of those?
I did.
And basically, Andy just wanted to show his superiority over women, and he was doing that to like play bad guy wrestler. And he thought the best way to do that was insult the people in the South and insult women and that sort of thing. And it worked.
It did.
People despised him, didn't they?
They did. I mean, he got so much.
Yeah.
He got so much heat over, and then eventually it led up to, of course, wrestling you. And I think he found out with wrestling women versus wrestling you, just a little different,
a little bit different. But let's take a look right now at Andy Kaufman. I finally challenged him, and let's take a look at Andy accepting my challenge to actually wrestle a man.
Classic. I want you people to watch closely this tape that Andy Kaufman sent in. Then I got something else to say about it. Can we watch this?
Let's roll it now and take it.
Mr. Lawler, I've heard all these things you've been saying about me on television. You want to wrestle me? You want to wrestle me, Memphis style? All right, fine. I'm not afraid of you, Mr. Lawler, because let me tell you something. True, I only wrestle women, but I've wrestled women that are a lot bigger and stronger than you. Matter of fact, they're probably smarter than you because you don't have any brains. You're from Memphis, Tennessee. All you do is plow the fields and farm and the farmer. Is that how you talk from Memphis, Tennessee, Mr. Lawler? Boo. See, Mr. Lawler, you don't have any brains. I'm from Hollywood. I have the brains. That's how I win my matches. I say the bigger they come, the harder they fall. You might be twice as big as me, but I've wrestled women that are twice as big as me, and I've mopped the floor with them. And that's what I'm going to do with you, Mr. Lawler. You challenged me to a wrestling match. I think you bit off a little more than you can chew. I'm going to wipe the floor with you, Mr. Lawler. I'll give you a little sample. This is what's going to happen when you and I wrestle each other in Memphis.
Pay close attention to this.
Come here. What's your name?
Susan.
How tall are you, Susan?
6 foot.
And how much do you weigh?
327.
Wow.
327 pounds. That's a lot more than you weigh, Lawler. Okay? Watch this. Let's go.
Found out later that he actually went to a Home Depot out in Los Angeles and found this young lady and invited her over. She had no idea what was going to happen to her. Look, he puts her down on this mat.
I had no idea. Look at that.
Now look. Oh, starts hitting her head into the...
That's what just got to happen, Lawler. See?
Look.
Hitting her head. Come on. Hitting her head. Andy, I think you really hurt her. Doesn't matter. She doesn't have any money. She's poor. She can't sue me. See, I can do anything I want. Let the camera come on. Shut this camera off.
Wow. I'm telling you, Andy Kaufman did such a great job of turning the people of Memphis against him that when he finally got in the match with me, they wanted me to kill the guy.
Exactly.
I mean, it was unbelievable. So let's take a look now. You played a very important role in this match that Andy and I finally had, especially after the match was over. Let's take a look here, if we can, at some highlights of the match between Andy Kaufman and me with Jerry Calhoun refereeing.
Finally met in the ring in April of 1982.
He ran around the ring, seemed like, for 30 minutes, before he could even, get to, or you could get to him, rather.
Here comes Andy Kaufman. Lawler saying, there it is. Go ahead. Take your best hold right now.
Yeah, we had not even made contact yet, and you're right. The match had already been like at least 10 or 15 minutes into it, and I'm standing there with my hands behind my back. I said, "Go ahead, I'm giving you a free headlock. Let's get this match started," because the people were getting restless, right?
Oh my gosh, he was so leery and just scared. I said, he didn't want to get too close to you.
Look, you're begging him. Please start the match.
Like you said, it's about 30, 40 minutes gone by before you even touch one another.
He's saying, you're gonna keep your hands behind your back? I'm saying yes. Just grab a headlock, please.
Lawler still waiting as Kaufman.
Look at that outfit.
It was thermal underwear and some gym shorts. All right, look, he gets the headlock.
Then Kaufman very, very tentative.
I think he got you.
Yeah, I wanted to get a little confidence here.
Yeah.
And if you saw, I said, just wait 1 minute, folks.
Get a little waving to the crowd. Just 1 minute.
Look, now he got cocky.
Yeah.
Bob Zmuda, his ring manager, saying squeeze down on him.
Yeah, the guy walking around is Bob Zmuda, which is Andy's friend. And here we go. Oh! He told me later that knocked him unconscious. He did land on the back of his head instead of landing on his shoulders. But
of course, that's not all you did to him in this match either, right?
You're warning me, don't pile drive him, right?
Don't do it.
And you're right. At the time, a pile driver in Memphis wrestling was an illegal hold, and you got immediately disqualified. So here it goes.
There you go. I said, don't do it.
The most famous pile driver ever, and you disqualified me.
Of course.
Why?
That's the rule.
that made Andy Kaufman win this match.
I know, but I was trying to tell you, don't do it, don't do it. I'm going to have to disqualify if you pile driving. And you went ahead and pile drived it.
Well, since I was already disqualified, I felt
why not? You might as well get the best of it, right?
One more
time. Get your money's worth.
One more time. Now, Bob Zmuda, which was Andy Kaufman's co-writer and best friend, and George Shapiro, who was Andy's manager, was also at ringside. I looked over at him, and he was about to have a stroke. George Shapiro was also, he's Rodney Dangerfield's manager. He's Jerry Seinfeld's manager to this day. Oh, wow. And, yeah, he was over there watching all this. Now, what is Andy telling you right there?
Right here, Andy says, I need an ambulance.
What? Right then he's saying I need an ambulance?
He said, I need an ambulance. And I said, so that's when I went to you and I said, he wants an ambulance. And you said, well, I'm not paying for an ambulance.
Right.
So I went back to him and said, Lawler's not going to pay for an ambulance. And he said, I'll pay for it. So I went back to you and said, he said he'd pay for it. And he said, okay. So the next thing you know, here comes an ambulance.
Yeah, there they are, loading him onto the stretcher. He went and spent 3 days in, I think, St. Francis Hospital out on Park Avenue. With his neck in traction, laid there for 3 days. And that's when all the world was the attention focused on Memphis and what happened to Andy Kaufman at the Mid-South Coliseum.
They interviewed him there, too, if I remember.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then, of course, we went from there to the David Letterman show and everything. But Andy Kaufman and you disqualifying me. So Andy Kaufman then went around and started claiming that he won his match against me, and that led to some other matches after that. But that was the most famous match, right?
Big time, by far.
And then one of the things that nobody ever really realized, Andy actually, when he was coming down and wrestling women, and I was trying to convince him to have a match against a man, he came over to your house the night before Saturday morning TV, and we were there, and I got with Andy, and I tried to show him some.
You tried to show him some moves over at my house, you know.
Exactly.
So, I don't think it materialized when he got back
no,
to the ring.
He never learned any wrestling moves.
He froze and saw you in the ring and then all the people and said, wow, what am I going to do?
Exactly. Well, listen, that was Andy Kaufman match. Another famous match that you refereed that we're going to come back and show in just a minute was an impromptu World Heavyweight Championship match that took place on Memphis TV with Ric Flair. Do you remember that?
I do, very much so.
Tom, play us out. We're going to come back with the Ric Flair match.
This is where he'll stay. Tell all the women Jerry Lawler's on the way. He's a rock and roller.
Now, back to Jerry Lawler's classic Memphis wrestling.
All right, we are back and joined by a very special guest today, none other than Jerry Calhoun, who refereed almost all of my great matches here in the city of Memphis. And I remember one in 1982. It wasn't supposed to happen, but Ric Flair was in town, and he just came to be on our television show, and he was supposed to wrestle just some guy that was what we call enhancement talent that was obviously going to beat Ric Flair. So I came out in the show and tried to goad Ric Flair into a match with me on television, and not only a match with me, but I so belittled myself in the interview to try to build his confidence up. But I wanted him to give me a world title match on TV, which never happened. Absolutely never happened. But I don't know, I was able to actually talk him into doing that for 10 minutes.
That's right.
So he allowed me to have a world championship match for 10 minutes on Memphis TV. And you were the referee.
That's right.
So let's take a look at this. This is something that actually never happened, a world title match on television.
Challenger from Memphis, Tennessee at 228 pounds, Jerry the King Lawler, and the champion from Minneapolis, Minnesota, 240 pounds, Ric Flair. This is a world championship match. One fall, 10-minute time limit. Jerry Calhoun, the referee.
There you go.
I'll tell you, Davey,
Dave
we
Brown
have
just
often
explaining that it was a
said
10-minute time limit for the world title.
Unexpected can be
Probably
expected.
wish it was more than 10 minutes, right?
Well, of course, but I just, you know,
10 minutes, I mean, you can't, you know, write about it.
It was hard to get a world title match at that time.
Right.
Now, Flair had something to say.
Never let it be said that the world champion is not a fair man. Lawler's a big deal in this part of the country. He's a big deal in professional wrestling. But you see, his image was all Jerry Lawler, because he never was in the ring with Ric Flair. So if Mr. Lawler wants to step out of this ring and walk back there before I embarrass him, and before really he has to walk out of this television studio with his head between his legs, I'm going to give him an opportunity to do it. So why don't you make that clear to the audience and make that clear to Lawler. If you want the easy way out, brother, just get out of the ring and I'll forget it.
No, let's don't forget it, please. 10 minutes, world title.
You really want 10 minutes with a world champion? Well, you want 10 minutes with Ric Flair? Daddy, you got it. Don't let dust get on this, brother.
Oh, hold on.
My pride.
We got it. Well, by golly, I'll tell you, I take my hat off to the champion in this respect. He didn't back up 1 minute.
All of a sudden, Calhoun, you're refereeing a world title match. This was the first time I ever even wrestled Ric Flair.
Yeah, I'm telling you. It's one thing I remember about Ric Flair, matter of fact, I refereed a couple of his matches.
Right.
And one was in 1980 in North Carolina between him and Roddy Piper.
Oh,
and
wow.
I went there to referee because at that time, Roughhouse Fargo was refereeing,
right?
And you wanted to use him down here.
Exactly.
And at that time, I had to get a replacement for him, and it was me. So I went up to, I think it's Charlotte, North Carolina, and refereed the match between him and Roddy Piper.
Oh, man,
but what was interesting is, he would tell me before he went out to the match, he would say, if anything happens to me in the ring, I want you to mention these three names. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the first two, but I remember the last one, it was Walt Whitman. Now, Walt Whitman was an American poet, if I remember right. So, and then I thought about that later. I said, well, what if something did happen to him and he wanted me to mention those names? Would I have done, would I have said blank, blank Walt Whitman? Or would I say Walt Whitman, Walt Whitman, Walt Whitman? I thought that was very interesting.
It is very interesting, but I can't even imagine why or what he would think that would happen to him in the ring that you would need to mention those names.
I don't know if he said that to all the referees, when he wrestled, but I remember that distinctly.
Yeah, this match, though, was so special to me because of the first chance at getting the NWA World title, and I felt I had hoodwinked or outsmarted the champion and getting him to, he really didn't have the authority to make a world title match. All of those title matches during that time had to go through the NWA, and Sam Munchnick was the head of the NWA back then, and those matches had to be approved. But somehow, Flair, he put the title on the line after, I sort of embarrassed him into it. But I think he felt, in 10 minutes, there's no way anybody's going to beat the world champion in 10 minutes.
Well, it would have been something if you beat him, and then then there'd be a little turmoil.
Right.
Back in the center of the ring. Jerry Lawler with the headlock on the world champion Ric Flair.
In fact, y'all did a lot of wrestling.
Well, yeah, that was the name of the game back in the day. I mean, I didn't have any beef with Ric Flair. Like I said, I didn't even wrestle Ric Flair before, and so there was no need to start kicking and punching and throwing fists or that sort of thing. It was just, it was trying to see who was the better wrestler at the time. And Flair, as you heard him mention, he had heard about me and he had heard about Memphis wrestling and all of that sort of thing. But we weren't, we weren't considered big time nationwide. We were like our own little area here. And that was, I was just trying to prove a point to Flair here and show him that, the kind of caliber wrestlers we had in Memphis.
Well, I'll tell you, he found out he was going against the best when he went against you. So.
Shoulders down.
Yep.
Lawler with the shoulders down briefly.
I think I'm wondering right here at this point if I did
After Flair had rolled
it was unprecedented that he would agree to this kind of match, a title being at stake on TV. I'm just thinking, if I did get him in a pinning position, would you count to 3?
Yeah, well, I'd have to.
Flair rolls the
You know, it's so funny. I've refereed so many of your matches, and I could almost tell the opponent in the ring what you're going to do next.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't think anybody would know my matches any better than you.
Work his way out of this hole. He fires Lawler into the rope. Lawler not coming off of there. Flair lets him go by. Lawler ducks under. Reversal by Lawler.
Oh, now he's stuck. Now he feels. I think he feels like he's getting shown up.
Yeah. Believe you're right. All right, we've got about, let's see, 4 minutes left. 4 minutes left.
I think at this point Flair figures, uh-oh, I think I'm in a real fight here. I better start taking this thing a little more serious.
How many minutes are left in the match?
About 4 minutes, he said.
Yeah, since we're past halfway mark.
Oh, you know what? I gotta say, he was the master of throwing those slaps, right?
Those chops.
And not only that,
I hated him worse than anything.
Yeah, I thought I was going to say that. I said, you hated them. And, you know, he would throw them, and he would like them to be thrown on him.
Yeah, well, I never was a big guy for the chops, and I didn't like to give them, and I hated to take them. Oh, big knee drop.
I could hear you screaming when you were taking them. I said, oh my gosh, I know how you feel on those. Well, almost.
Did you never get a Flair chop throughout in your entire career?
No, I don't remember it, no. But I can imagine.
Big suplex here coming. Whoop, oh, look at this.
Now you got him.
Hooked him in a sleeper hold.
We have less than 3 minutes left.
Less than 3 minutes, and getting serious here. Flair's realizing he's in a little bit of trouble. Take a lot of explaining for him to.
No pressure.
Can you imagine if he had to go back to St. Louis at that time and tell Sam Munchnick that he went down to Memphis and was just going down for a TV match and lost the NWA World Championship?
Outside the ring now.
Oh, turmoil. There you go. Oh.
We just told you to get out of the way.
He's going to hit me. Well, he was disqualified.
On the action.
Man, if you remember, our crowds, our fans in Memphis were so great. You listen to the excitement, that little studio crowd. We'd have about 100, 150 people in the studio there for the TV show. Man, they were into the matches.
I'm telling you, it doesn't make a lot of noise.
Yeah. Uh-oh. See, he didn't realize the pile driver was illegal.
No.
Jerry Calhoun reminding
I tried to tell him that.
the pile driver, Dave, I believe.
You're right. Looks like that's what he was going for.
1, 2, and Lawler again. Thought he had him that time.
Now you're getting pulled away. You're using the fist too much.
Yeah, I think at this point, Flair realized there wasn't much time left, and he went from wanting to survive mode to wanting to beat me and show everybody that he was the true world champion.
Yeah.
I think he said like a minute and a half to go. Now he's going to show everybody, I'm going to beat your big king here.
Beat the king within 10 minutes. We found out he couldn't do it. I see them, that hurts me.
Yeah.
Another 2 count. 1 minute. 1 minute. 60 seconds to go. And Lawler.
I tell you what, I have to say, you're still wrestling today after 45 plus years. And you're taking back drop still, taking slams, a drop kick. I don't know how you do it.
Don't ever stop.
Yeah, well, that's the reason. If you stop, I guess you wouldn't ever do it.
Now look, less than a minute to go.
Flair straight up in the air.
Oh.
Lawler.
I think he thinks he got me right there.
Trying everything.
Oh, no, figure four leg lock. That would do it.
30 seconds to go. He's going for a figure 4 leg lock.
We thought he had you.
He's got Lawler in.
You know what? Talk about painful. That's the most, to me, always, I guess because you broke my leg one time playing football. Now there, the bell rang, the time limit was up. I didn't give up.
Right.
So the figure 4
He probably said you did, but you didn't. You didn't give up.
Go for naught, and the bout is going to end up in a draw, Dave.
So we got a draw, and Flair's mad. But yeah, that figure 4 leg lock is the most painful hold that I've ever experienced in the business.
The bout, which was
Whoa, he thought he won.
here to see the King and Ric Flair going at it. But the 10-minute time limit, which was no, he didn't give up on it. The time limit ran out. The 10-minute time limit ran out on it, and it is a draw.
We played
by your rules.
All right, listen.
Now we play by mine. 5 more minutes. 5 more. Hey, no questions. The world champion wants 5 more minutes. If the world champion wants, the world champion gets.
Okay, Flair says he was so intent on winning, he wanted 5 more minutes. And of course, we're going to have to come back and show you exactly what happened some other time because I got the upper hand on Flair.
You did.
He went running off, and you did what?
Counted him out.
Counted him out.
Yeah.
And I was
won it.
I was the victor. I won the match, but unfortunately, the title didn't change hands on the count out.
Exactly.
But I claimed to be the NWA World Champion after that, after
Or
Jerry Calhoun
disqualification.
counted him out. Listen, Jerry, I really want to thank you for being here today. Had a lot of fun going back and looking at some of the classic Memphis wrestling matches that you were involved in. And we can find more. Can you come back again another time?
Anytime. I thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it. And you didn't have a confrontation with me like you did the previous guest with like
Doug Gilbert?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I need to get him out on the golf course where you can hit some of those golf balls and take out the frustration on them, right? And you too, get out there.
And listen, after the show, we're going to go over to the Memphis Barbecue Company and have some nice ribs and that sort of stuff. And then we're going to go down to the club on Beale Street and have a good time, right?
You got that right.
Thanks for being here, Jerry Calhoun.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time on Classic Memphis Wrestling. Tom, let's go.
He beat the Idol and Joe LeDuc in Harley Race.
Thanks for watching Jerry Lawler's Classic Memphis Wrestling. Brought to you by King Jerry Lawler's Hall of Fame Bar and Grill, 745 Cash, and King Jerry Lawler's Memphis Barbecue Company.